Namaste children, welcome back. We are discussing evolution topic. So in this topic, today I am going to discuss evolution by stages. We discussed previously that evolution is nothing but accumulation of characteristics or accumulation of variations. So which are beneficial variations will be accepted and which are not beneficial will be diminished or will be perished. Okay. Now based on that you see that here this is Planaria. Planaria is example for fragmentation in reproduction lesson you read. So this Planaria is example of Platyhelminthes. So this Platyhelminthes, actually Platyhelminthes forms what you learned, they are triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical. In 9th class you learned all these points. But what new point you have to learn here, Planaria, it is the only organism which is free living platyhelminth. Okay, when it is free living it has to have eyes. So these eyes are rudimentary. Rudimentary means not well developed. Not well developed. Next, after Platyhelminthes, Nematyhelminthes. Nematyhelminthes organisms are almost all the organisms are parasites. So they too do not have any proper vision and proper development of eyes. Then what comes after Nematoda, Annelida and then Arthropoda. So if you consider Arthropoda is nothing but all the insects. Now you know that insects have very complex eye. Each eye will have 2000 eyelets, small eyes. So it has a very complex vision. Now you see that even insects are also surviving and the Planaria is also surviving. Even though it has very rudimentary eye, it do not develop well developed eye, even the Planaria is also still surviving and insects are almost all the insects are surviving. Next octopus, next Echinodermata, next Protochordata, Vertebrata, all these organisms. Now if it comes to the mammalia, mammalians will have a very clear vision. They have 2D vision, they do not have any 2D vision and 3D vision like dogs and other animals. But we have color variations, depth we can understand, all these things we can understand. So even we have the advantage and the Planaria is also having advantage. So from Planaria, if you consider the development of eye, insects will have complex eye out of all. Then mammalia. So in all these organisms, we are considering that we are mammals, we are here. But Planaria also still surviving and earthworm is also surviving and all the other organisms, intermediate organisms are also surviving and insect is surviving and from insect to mammalia, so many other organisms are surviving. All these organisms are surviving because they have survival advantage. What they have? Survival advantage. And in each and every stage, the DNA took lot of changes. So the DNA change did not take suddenly within overnight. So it took lot of time to change its DNA. When the DNA is changing a small bit, little bit, the particular organisms developed. But they did not modify themselves to other organisms because they have their survival advantage. So when mammals are surviving with a good vision and then the same time the Planaria is also surviving because they too have survival advantage even though it took place in stage wise. Every stage is having advantage, every stage is very well fit to that particular environment. So that's why these organisms are well suited and well survived and still they are surviving because they have that survival advantage and accepted by the nature. So evolution we can say that it developed in a stage wise, one after the other. So this is the example development of the eye. Next, and you can say that this much we don't have the waiting capacity. We can't wait that long years. That nature only will select, earth only will select, or animals will select. So we don't have time because our lifespan is very less. Maximum 80 years we will survive. So in this 80 years, what all we want to get it. We want to select it. So that's why what happened, the man started doing selection on his own. So such selection, so what nature is doing, like green beetles or survived or red beetles were picked by the predators. So that much time you don't have to wait for the nature to select. So that's why what man has done, he took all the power what nature is doing, that power he took, and he started doing artificial selection. What do you mean by artificial selection? The selection done by the man for his own benefits, for his greed, and to fulfill his betterment and for his life necessities, or is called artificial selection. So selection by man himself for his benefits is called artificial selection. Now here artificial selection best example is given in the textbook, wild cabbage. Wild cabbage is 2000 years ago, the wild cabbage developed in the forest. So this wild cabbage slowly started developing for man's own benefit in different ways. What are the different ways? Cauliflower, broccoli, kale, cabbage and kohlrabi. Kohlrabi means known kohl. So why they selected from all these wild cabbage? Because they did not like wild cabbage. What they liked from wild cabbage? Few people liked cauliflower. What is actually cauliflower? Sterile flowers. The flowers are sterile. Sterile flowers means the male and female reproductive organs are not developed. They cannot give rise to new plant. So such flower development will be there. That is called cauliflower. So cauliflower is developed with sterile flowers. So that they started using as a vegetable. So that in that way cauliflower is adopted. Then broccoli, arrested flower. The flower development, because they don't have time to wait. The flower will bloom and it gives fruits and other things. They did not wait. So arrested flower, for that what they developed? Broccoli they developed. Even broccoli we consider that it is very nutritious and very healthy for the body. And what broccoli will give, in the same way our cabbage also will give. But all the European channels we will see and US channels we will see, and we will feel that broccoli is only nutritious and our cabbage and cauliflower are not nutritious. Because these are locally available varieties, definitely they too will have nutritious values than as like a broccoli. Okay. Then kale. Kale means larger leaves, just like our spinach and other vegetables other leafy vegetables we will use, no? So just like that, larger leaves, for the sake of larger leaves they developed kale. Then cabbage. Cabbage, you know that. What is it? Short distance between the leaves. If you stretch it and see the cabbage, so cabbage middle part will be like this and the leaf will be wound around it like that. So if the distance is more, the leaf size will be big. So if the distance is less, the cabbage will be compact and it will be very tasty and it will be smooth. So the cabbage, short distances between the leaves, for that cabbage they developed. Kohlrabi. Kohlrabi means nool kohl. We will call it as nool kohl, like this. Like the same like a beetroot but white in color. So this is called kohlrabi. So all these vegetables are developed by man for his own benefits, for his taste purpose from the wild cabbage. So this is the best example of artificial selection. Then what else we have to discuss? Now based on this lesson, what you understood, every organism has its own survival tendency. If it has a survival tendency, so that it can survive for a longer time and can produce its offspring. If it do not have that survival tendency, what happens? The organisms will perish and die. And in this process, what happens? Every intermediate stage is also accepted by the nature. They too will grow into new individual. That's why we will say that from gorilla human beings developed. It is not the correct idea. From gorilla we did not develop. From chimpanzee we did not develop. So then all the chimpanzees will not be anymore now. But chimpanzees are also surviving, orangutans are also surviving, all the apes are also surviving, and we are also surviving. Means what happened? We all developed, we all shared a common ancestor. As the common ancestor, like that in a cabbage place, if you think that the old early man, from that all these categories developed. So we all, our ancestors are like gorilla, like animals. So we all developed from such organism, but not that all the gorillas are human beings, they modified, all the chimpanzees are modified human beings, not like that. So we did not develop like that, but what development we have, like how we traveled to the normal environment and we started living in a protected area, so that our body lot of changes it took place. But chimpanzees and still orangutan and all, they are able to survive there because they are habituated to that situations. So the organism is which is best suited means we can't say that the organism, even bacteria is best suited or human beings are best suited or means which are evolved means we can't say the answer, because bacteria is also still surviving it and it is making a challenge to the human world because it is having its own survival advantage. Human beings are unable to beat them, unable to protect from them, so still we are getting diseases. So bacteria is also even a single prokaryotic organism, it also have a survival advantage, and we human beings are also having survival advantage. But what is the main difference? We have little adaptive features. Okay, so we can't say that we are only more evolved, we are only the pinnacle of the evolution. No, we are all par with other organisms. No high organism, no low organism. We are all equal in the process of evolution and in the view of the earth and the nature. So save the mother earth.